Okay, so today we are going to be doing yet another ranking video. I don't know if you noticed, but my last ranking video has been one of my most popular videos today. It still hasn't reached 1,000 views, but that's still pretty good for me. And so I'm kind of like hopping onto that trend because obviously it shows that you guys really like my rankings, I guess. And we're going to be doing yet another Sims 4 ranking. This time we are going to be ranking all of the worlds in The Sims 4. So yeah, okay, so I've got my categories here, right? So my categories are destination of my dreams, would move here, a decent place to live if I had no other choice, and get the hell out of Dodge. I think all of these kind of rankings here kind of are self-explanatory. I don't think I need to go through them. But yeah, I have every single one of the packs except for Batuu. So I'm not going to be ranking Batuu here because that's kind of a bit biased on my end if I try to do that, for obvious reasons, because I haven't actually played it, so I can't go and Batuu's get the hell out of Dodge because it's such a big cash grab done by EA, and I think it's ridiculous because no, I haven't actually played it, so that wouldn't be me giving it its fair dues, if that makes sense. So we're going to be kind of doing this at random just because Tiermaker, when I'm putting the thumbnails in, likes to just scramble them around anyway, so there's like no order to things. And I've only got like screenshots here that I've taken mostly. I had to borrow a couple because I forgot they existed before I went out the game after taking all the screenshots. So I'm going to be using the screenshots to kind of guess where they are. So yeah, wish me luck with that, I guess. Thank you. Okay, but starting off, we are going to be starting with Brightchester. So Brightchester comes with Sims 4 University. Is it just Sims 4 University? I think it's just Sims 4 University. I can't remember if there's anything else attached to the university name. But it's always been University since Sims 2, so I'm just going to call it that. And yeah, this is a university town, obviously. And it's the fun thing about the Sims 4 University compared to the Sims 2 and the Sims 3 is that I'm pretty sure they're based more off European universities than they are off American universities. And that's great because obviously I went to an English university. I left English university, but I was there for 4 years before I failed out. And Brightchester very much does remind me of like the university town where I used to live. I used to live in Worcester. Yes, Worcester, like the sauce. And that is how you pronounce it. Thank you very much. If you pronounce it any other way, I will come to your house and I will kill everyone you love, except maybe your dog. I'll leave your dog alone. But yeah, Brightchester, it's a decent place to live. And I'm going to put it in a decent place to live for one reason and one reason alone. Because again, this does remind me a lot of Worcester where I used to live. Worcester was a decent place to live in. It's a city. Every kind of Chester really is a city in the UK. It's got its own cathedral, hence it's a city in the UK. That's our criteria for being a city, by the way, in the UK. If you didn't know, you have to have a cathedral. Hence why Reading is technically not a city. It's a town because it doesn't actually have its own cathedral, but it is basically a city. So yeah, so I'm putting it in a decent place to live because it was decent to live in when I was in there. Obviously, it had its rough moments and it wasn't like the biggest, most exciting city in the world, you know. But I quite like living there, and the dorms themselves look quite decent to live in, all things considered. So hence why it's in a decent place to live. And next up, we do have Brindleton Bay. Brindleton Bay comes with cats and dogs, and if you ask a lot of Simmers, they will all kind of tell you that Brindleton Bay is probably one of their favourite towns to live and play in. I personally don't actually tend to live in Brindleton Bay that much. It's obviously it's kind of like this sleepy little fishing town, and it's got like all the strays roaming around, which makes me very sad because there's a lot of strays roaming around, obviously. But it just kind of reminded me of like a lot of towns I used to visit when I lived in Devon, because we used to go on holiday to Cornwall a lot, and it's very much a fishing town. But I think it's a very pretty place. I like the Whiskerman's Wharf. I like the lore behind there. There's actually lore in this town, and all in all, it's a really cute town. And obviously, it doesn't hurt that there are a bunch of cats and dogs roaming around as well, especially the cats, especially male Whiskers. He's adorable. So I'm not going to put him. I'm going to put him in a decent place to live as well. There's kind of like the top rankings of the places where I wouldn't live now. But or like I just kind of put up with living in, if that makes sense. But it's still a pretty good place to live. Next up we do have Copperdale, and it's obviously it's the newest town. But I'm actually and it's usually when the game progresses, like down the timeline of packs coming out, usually when the Sims 4 progresses, you know, when the packs come out and that, everything kind of improves over time. But Copperdale to me is just kind of like it's a nice enough place. But it doesn't excite me. It's just a normal American town with a high school and that, and obviously everything in this town is geared around the high school because, I mean, it's from high school years. And that's fine. But I don't understand why a lot of places are kind of like obsessed with high school and that. And again, high school years is actually quite an American experience anyway. Obviously, I've never experienced that. But I don't know, I guess if I had to move to America and like I was moving in with someone and they lived in Copperdale or something like that, I would, you know, live with them. Because why not, I guess. But personally, for me, it's just if I had no other choice to live there. I mean, it's quite nice. I like the fairground in there and that, and there's a lot of like hidden areas for like teens to hang out in. It's very much geared around like the teen experience, like you know, sneaking out to places with your friends. And again, the fairground's quite cute, but the fairground's something I'd only very rarely go to because it's fun the first time you go there, but it's only a few rides and it kind of gets really boring really fast. And obviously the thrift shop is nice there as well, and the bubble tea shop, but you know, it's alright, I guess. Next up, we do have Del Sol Valley. Now, obviously, Del Sol Valley comes with the Get Famous expansion pack, and you can tell it is very much based off of LA. And I don't know about you, but LA is super glamorous to me. I'd put it in I don't know. LA doesn't really appeal to me. Everyone's like super fake there. Apparently, when you're in LA, you can't actually get anywhere like on foot. You have to drive everywhere, which isn't fun to me. And most of this town, they're like livable places, I guess, because that's mostly what I'm ranking here. Most of the livable places in this town, they're all right, but they're kind of run down. It's like there's like, you don't really have that kind of medium in the houses here. You either have like poverty-stricken houses. Well, not poverty-stricken, but, you know, obviously they're the houses that you kind of live in when you're trying to make it big, but you don't actually have any money or anything like that. You know, just it's typical small-town actress wanting to be big. Like, that's the kind of vibe you get from there. It's either that or the massive mansions. Judith Ward's mansion comes to mind. Absolutely horrendous. And, again, there's not that middle ground, so I don't know. I don't think I'd want to live there. It's not... It's an alright town, and the rankings here aren't like really rankings as an amazing to bad, because I don't think The Sims has too many like bad places, bad towns or anything like that. The Sims 4 is quite decent with their towns, I guess. But I might actually, instead of, if I had another choice, I'd probably put it in Get the Hell Out of Dodge, because it's either, again, really fake or like really not. And it's kind of deserty there, which there's nothing against people who live in like desert areas or anything like that. But personally, I wouldn't want to live there. It will dry out my skin, and I don't do well in the heat anyway because I start stuttering and it's horrendous. But now autumn's here and it's great, and it's almost Halloween, and that makes me really excited. But that's not what we were talking about here. But yeah, that one, I'd probably get the hell out of Dodge in that one. You know, it might be alright for like a brief little holiday or something like that on the way, and like a sightseeing trip. I know you Americans love your road trip, so I guess I'd stop by on a road trip to like maybe go to the Plum Bob Pictures Museum. But can we just talk about how ugly the Plum Bob Pictures Museum is, because it is like ugly, you know? And I'm trying to figure out what this thumbnail here is. Now I realise it's actually Evergreen Harbour. I'm gonna put her in Get the Hell Out of Dodge as well with this one. The place itself isn't too bad, I guess. I do like the apartment buildings. Actually, you know what? I'll put her in, if I had another choice, why not? The apartment buildings I quite like as well. It's one of only 2 towns in The Sims 4 where you can live in an apartment. And I don't know, I quite like how they're done there, and it's very much a town style apartment as opposed to what you get in city living, which I'll talk about in a bit. But most of the areas of this town, I don't like. You either have like Beth Sterling, who tries to steal your money. You have like you have the Greenberg family, who I guess is supposed to look nice, and obviously I do approve of the lesbians with their son. Nothing against the Greenberg matriarchs, but like I hate Knox Greenberg. He's like hot, I guess, and he's probably decent to make babies with. But as a person, he just seems like obviously eco activists are great. Obviously I have nothing against eco-activists or anything like that. But he seems kind of obnoxious in it. Like straight away you move in, he visits your house to like talk about like eco-activism, which is great, I guess. But, you know, maybe give me some time to settle in a bit. But obviously this isn't really about The Sims, this is about the town itself. And the town's nice and all, but it's very, very gimmicky, I guess, with where you live. There's like one decent neighbourhood, and sorry if I don't give you the neighbourhood names, I never really pay attention to them, that you can kind of see yourself living in. And obviously there's the apartments, but then there's like the rundown area where you're like forced to make a shipping container home, otherwise it looks really weird. It's nice, but obviously personally I would not live there because it just seems like the ecology of this place is a complete mess, and yeah, maybe not. So next we have Forgotten Hollow, and I'm an inner goth, okay? I know I'm wearing a lot of pink right now, and I know I wear a lot of pink anyway, but personally my inner self is a goth, and I always wanted to be a goth or an emo or anything like that, and Forgotten Hollow just kind of brings those gothic dreams to life. I would move here, definitely, and the vampires wouldn't be a turn off. Actually, they're very much a turn on for me, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, so I very much like the idea of the vampires living there, and I like the towns, the houses as well. It's very much like a town. It's not really a town so much as it's almost a town square, and I kind of like see a lot of these the occult pack, game pack, towns as almost being connected in a way. Like I can see Moonwood Mill, Forgotten Hollow, and Glimmerbrook all being kind of neighbours in that kind of respect. So it's very much just like a town square, kind of town area thing, like you know, anywhere you live you have like your different neighbourhoods. It's almost like just a singular neighbourhood in itself. And obviously it's the first occult pack town, and it kind of reflects that in how small it is and how niche it is in that. But the look of the buildings, gorgeous. Obviously the Victorian style is very much up my alley. I almost see it kind of as being a part of London in a way. Like you do have like those out on the outskirts of London, like those, I know what I see as, you know, Grimmauld Place in Harry Potter. I kind of imagine Grimmauld Place as being in that kind of area, you know what I mean? And I just think it's cute, and it very much lets me live out my Dracula fantasies, and yeah, why not? Also, it looks kind of based off Britain as well, like you might see it in like a small niche part of Britain, and I like that, okay? I like any town that kind of reminds me of my home, because, you know, it's my home. So next up, and this next screenshot that I took as well really doesn't reflect what it's, you know, what it is, but next up is Grimmerbrook. Grimmerbrook. The next up is Glimmerbrook. And she's cute, I guess. I like the setting of the town. Again, I can very much see her connected to Moonwood Mill directly. And I kind of like that, all the trees and that, all the evergreen pine trees. I think it's really cute. What lets this place down, though, is very much the buildings and the style of the builds. I don't like them. You can kind of see how they're supposed to be like stylized buildings in this place, and like they're all supposed to fit a certain style. And again, I don't care that it's small. I like the river that goes through to the magic portal, and that is very much a witchy town. And you'd think that as a kind of witchy loving person myself, I'd like this place, but I just don't. The look of the builds, they're very cartoony, which you don't really see in like The Sims 4. You see it in like some of the older places, but by the time that this pack came out, you don't really see that anymore. And I do like the more realistic parts. But they also kind of look, a lot of the houses in this place, I hate to say it, but they do kind of look like, you know, a baby Simmer's first build, or one of the first builds like you make in The Sims before you like get used to all the controls and that. I just don't really like them that much. So I'm actually going to put this in if I had no other choice. Again, I feel like I'm betrayed like my witchiness here, but I just, yeah, it's a shame, but I've got to give it that rating because, yeah, I know, I'm very eloquent with my, but here we go. Next up we have Granite Falls. Now this is the first vacation area that I'm going to be dealing with. There's only two really. But it's also like one of the first worlds that they built for the Sims 4 that wasn't like the base game worlds. And it shows, it's very empty. You're right, obviously this is supposed to be for camping, so you're in the middle of the wilderness. And she's actually going and get the hell out of Dodge as well, because I know about you, but I do dream of living in a cabin in the woods on my own, but like that I'd be kind of like the hermit from this town, as in like my dream is to just live where no one can see me. But this is just going to be like those stuck-up tourist families, you know, like the dad's probably going to be walking around in socks and sandals and like those cargo shorts, and like the mom's just going to be feeling really out of place in her like high-heeled hiking boots or whatever. You know, it kind of feels almost like a glamping destination for like actual rich people. Like they'd be like slumming it like the peasants, you know, hashtag camping life or something like that, and like super cringe. And I don't know, it just feels very bougie to me. I know it's like in the woods or whatever, but it just does feel bougie, and I don't like that. And next up we do have Henford on Bagley. No, when I was taking these screenshots, even though I'd already seen the town like straight before, I immediately forgot the name of this place. Obviously it's one of the latest towns. It's from the second to last expansion pack that came out, and she is one of my favourite places. She's not quite destination of my dreams worthy, I'm not gonna lie, but I would probably move here, definitely. Obviously, like I think I've mentioned a billion times in this video, obviously I am British, I am English to be specific, and I have been to a lot of you know, a lot of smaller areas in the UK just on behalf of my family who like to go camping a lot. Yeah, that's another reason why I don't like Granite Falls, because I don't like camping anyway. But you know, we kind of drove around everywhere. We drove to visit different destinations in the UK, and I always love visiting the villages. And Henford on Bagley, especially like the main square, is very much a British village. There's this kind of disparity between how the UK, England specifically, is shown in media. You either have London, which is kind of like modern Britain, you know, with the big skyscrapers and all that, and that's where you get like the innit loves and all that. And then you have chocolate box Britain, which is the rural villages like this is. This is not reflective, this town is not reflective of the majority of the UK. Mostly we just live in like small rural, small urban areas or whatever. I live in quite an urban town myself. But places like this do exist, and places like this are actually really expensive to live in. Villages are quite pricey to live in, actually. But it still does reflect how those villages look, and I like that, and I would probably move there because, as long as the Wi-Fi's alright, so I could actually like still make videos and that, obviously. But I would move here because, you know, it's in Britain, it's right down my alley, and the community in places like these tend to be really tight-knit, and I like the idea of that, even though I don't have any friends. So next up we have Next up we have Magnolia Promenade. Now this town looks very much like an offshoot of Newcrest and of Willow Creek. Like you can imagine like these all being attached, which is fine enough. But it's all like, it's just a small shopping district really. There's nowhere to live, so most of these options anyway are kind of useless to me. But I guess I can see like an apartment building being like built there as well. I might actually do that one day. I might just build an apartment building in Magnolia Promenade so people can live there or whatever. And you can always see like, you know, I can imagine living there like above the shops or whatever, and it would be quite cute. The shops themselves are pretty decent. I confess I haven't explored Magnolia Promenade too much, because I don't really tend to, I've never really played with a business before or anything like that, so you know, there's no reason for me to have explored Promenade too much. But it's a decent looking place, and actually when I went into starting to rank this right now, I expected to be a bit more down on it, but I'm actually going to put it in a decent place to live, because it's just a decent shopping area that, you know, if they did have apartment buildings, it's a nice clean area. You'd probably imagine living there in an apartment or something. I like it. So next up is Moonwood Mill, and straight away I can tell you that is going straight in my Destination of my dreams. That's right, it's the first one in there. And for obvious reasons. I love the werewolf pack when it came out. I just love the werewolves in The Sims as well. I think they're really cute. So Moonwood Mill definitely feeds into that. I love the lake. I love how it glimmers under the full moon and like all the little secret spots you can go in. I like how it very much looks like it's almost like just been neglected by like the local governments or whatever, and the werewolves have been allowed to run wild in the place. And I don't know, it's just really cute. Okay, I just really like this town. Please don't judge me for it. Moonwood Mill is, again, it's in one of the smaller cult towns, but it still fits it. It still packs in quite a bit. And obviously Copperdale came not too far after it, really. And it definitely just shoots Copperdale right out the water, despite this one being a game pack, whereas Copperdale came as part of a bigger expansion pack. And there is just a lot of hidden lore and a lot of hidden details in this town that I love. Obviously, there's Greg. You gotta love Greg. And I just love her, okay? Don't judge me. Next up, we have Mount Commeraby as well. And I am torn with where to put Mount Commeraby, whether it's would move here or Destination of My Dreams. Probably would move here, but barely. It's just barely on the threshold here. And that's just because Mount Commeraby is obviously a Japanese town. My inner weeb that I used to be also when I was a child. I dreamed of being a goth, but was actually a weeb, you know, as you do. And then in college, the goths and the emos and the weebs and just the nerds in general, we all kind of banded together somehow. Don't ask. I don't know how those groups always intersect, but they do. But anyway, it's a Japanese mountain town, which when like games and like especially like American or Western made media tries to portray Japan, and they always tend to just go, yeah, Tokyo, that's it. But instead they very much focused, this is one of the packs that focuses on the culture of the area as well. And you can see that in small little things like they have school uniforms when they go to school. They bow in greeting, they use chopsticks a lot of the time. There's like the forest spirits in the area, and there's like the kind of dichotomy in this town as well between like the older generation and the younger generation, like old traditional morals, and then the younger, more modern builds. And then there's also like the vacation destination like mountain as well. And it's probably the best world in The Sims 4. It is actually, I will go out on a limb and say it is probably the best world in The Sims 4, hands down. It was just made perfectly. This is I think this is one of the first packs where they actually got in like big name simmers to make to like do some of the builds to this place. James Turner was in there, formerly known as the Sim Supply, Lil Simsy, some other people who I can't remember. You know, they had like big name people who are known for making good builds in The Sims anyway come in there as the Sims team, and it really shows in just how well made everything is. And it's just a really cute town. It's not the destination of my dreams personally, because you know, I know I just wouldn't want to live here personally as just an outsider. I guess it's very much something that if you moved here you probably feel like completely left out of everything, you know. But it's still a really cute place, and it is, again, like I said, it is hands down the best world in The Sims, probably. Sims 4. Next we have Newcrest, and she's going straight in get out the hell of Dodge, because she almost feels like a Willow Creek clone. She doesn't have anything unique to change her from that, or like to diversify herself from the rest of the world. Is like, if you want to live in that kind of vibe, you either live in Newcrest or Willow Creek. But it also has the added downside of, obviously, there's no builds in Newcrest, so you'd walk in there, and obviously you'd have to get the hell out of Dodge. You don't want to be the only house in an entire like empty ghost town. The area itself is quite nice. Like, you can go around, there's like little play parks you can go to. Like, obviously there's some nice spots to build. It's a cute kind of neutral area to live in, I guess, if you just want to live in like a neutral area with like without much details, and you want to just focus on making your own story. It's great if you want to like make your own save file. Like, a lot of people make a Newcrest save file where they completely like add all the buildings, like do all the businesses they want and that, which is great it's great for them. But obviously I'm lazy. I'm a lazy person, so I'm not going to be, I don't want to make like a billion different houses in that usually. I probably will work on a Newcrest build one day, but you know, if you step in there, you're going to get the hell out of Dodge. There's no one there. It's very weird. Moving on, we have Oasis Springs, and I actually really like Oasis Springs. She's going to go in a decent place to live, because honestly, this is kind of central on me and my preferences, this ranking. But surprisingly, considering she's a base game build, like she's one of the first towns, she is like the first town you might live in, she's actually really cute. You can see a lot of hints of like the art style of The Sims 4 when it first came out, because when The Sims 4 first came out, it very much had to focus on like cartoony art style and that, which is fine, and it was just stylized, and it's fine, but you can kind of see that in like some of the background builds, especially like the wonky proportions and that, and that's why a lot of these older things have like that kind of cartoony wonky sharp style, shape, or whatever you want to say. But I really like Oasis Springs. I actually end up making my Sims, it's probably one of my most played in towns in The Sims 4. I like the dinosaur. Obviously the dinosaur's great. It's and I personally am a modern builder. I build a lot of modern style homes, not out of choice, it's just I'm not very good at anything else. Sorry. But you know, I do like it's like a nice arid deserty region, and I like the dichotomy between that and Willow Creek. Like, you're not forced to just live in like the same basic kind of area, and it's really cute. Personally, and it's very much American again. Most of these base game things are, or like early days things is very much American focused. It's only later on in the Sims 4 timeline where they actually started focusing on other cultures in other places. But it's nice. I wouldn't live there because again, it's going to be way too hot, and the desert air is just going to dry my skin out, and I would not be able to communicate with anyone like that. And I don't like sweating, so I just wouldn't like living there. But it would be a decent place to live anyway, because obviously it's full of things and it has like some green areas in that, and you can actually imagine people living in this town. It's not picturesque, picture perfect. It very much looks lived in, and I kind of like that. I like places that look lived in instead of perfect. So, hats off to Oasis Springs, I guess. I'm surprised I haven't got to this one already, but I'm actually going to do Willow Creek now. I'm going to rate Willow Creek now, even though it's kind of like not next on the list, because I kind of feel like Oasis Springs and Willow Creek do kind of need to be considered together a lot. And honestly, Willow Creek is very much a... I'm torn, actually. I'm torn between Get the Hell Out of Dodge and If I Had No Other Choice. I know, it's bad. I'm going to put it in Get the Hell Out of Dodge, actually, because, I don't know, something about it, it's very pastoral, real, very nice. It's just a very great place, I'm sorry. And I don't think just the people who really come up, I really like that. The buildings are like, crafted manufacturers. It's based off of, a county called New Orleans in America. But, obviously, the exposure I get to New Orleans is the culture behind it. It's very spiritual, movement behind in the area. And you don't see any of that in Willow Creek. Obviously, the buildings in that area the food are inspired by New Orleans. There's not obviously not the culture. And again, this is why I go Sims 4 sort of kind of like ignoring that kind of aspect of it. But this is why parts like Back Away in the future are beautiful and amazing. And then things like Willow Creek, and it just looks really empty as well. It's not the most fun town, and I really like it to look down. And it was like, well, like it's supposed to be okay. But yeah, I'm sorry, that was really well figured out. Next up, we do have San Martino from City Living. And San Martino is really... San Martino definitely goes in destination, which is also definitely a good move here as well. I love the city. My dream is to one day have the money to win the lottery. I'll probably end up moving to Birmingham. Nearly such a big city. I live in Worcester as well, obviously. I live in Worcester, I live in Worcestershire. But I also have the person. But yeah, San Martino, I love the big city. I love being able to reach effective high. I love the skylines. I love River High. Every neighborhood in the city itself is really cute and really good. I like the apartments in there. Like, you have obviously the really nice apartments, but they're not all private apartments, like the run-down ones. And I like the aspect of like things breaking down, or like mouse holes, like one apartment that has a chalk right down to the body, and he's going that smells sometimes, and like deal with that. I don't know, like living in, like, you can imagine living in like the actual downfalls and ones, so like not everything just goes perfectly all the time, and like there's like things that you just have to get rid of, like that chalk outline and the smell, or the mouse holes, like can't really keep up, like breaks sometimes in the car, that kind of stuff. I just really like, I just really like playing in San Martino. I love living in San Martino. It's just a really cute place, okay? I like updating the apartments as well. It's just really cute. Next I have Salvatore. And obviously this is a ranking based off Willow Creek. This is again another vacation destination. I don't quite think she deserves the same treatment as Bright Falls because she is better than them. It's the other kind of vacation focus again. So we have any more version of Batuu, which again, like I mentioned before, I am not going to be looking at Batuu because I have not played it, and it's not fair. It's not fair to like rank places that I haven't played through. It's very much it's not a fair assessment, and I do need to give it its fair dues one day, but I'd have to get to like 1,000 subscribers at least before I even consider wasting my money on Batuu. Wasting my money on every single kit, mind you, but not Batuu. But yeah, this is about Salvatore anyway. And I do like it, and I like the adventures that you can get into in there. It very much reminds me of World Adventures from The Sims 3, and I used to love World Adventures. I used to love playing through all the adventures, obviously, Egypt, China, France, and all that, and like the tombs and that. And this is very much reminiscent of it, except it's kind of not as in depth as those places are. But I think this was probably the first pack that actually focused on Sims culture as well, and you can very much see that in the setting. Personally, I haven't lived in an area like this, and I don't tend to see much media on it either, so I don't think I'd be the best judge of how accurate this culture is. I think it's based off like Brazil, that kind of belt of areas, if that makes sense, South American culture. But I do like they tried, I guess. You tried, Sims team. Congratulations. And I like the adventures of the teams in that as well. But yeah, I can't really say much on it, to be honest. Next up is Strangerville. And I think I think just by default, Strangerville automatically belongs in the get out of Dodge, get the hell out of Dodge category, because very much like if you end up in that town, I would suggest that you run away. But I would probably, if I had no other choice, I would probably live in this town. I can see living in this town. I've actually looked at this town in depth a lot. I've actually explored probably every nook and cranny of this town, and I quite like the little details. It's very much a very new town that was, you kind of get the sense and the vibe from this town that, you know, it was built all at once. It wasn't like built up. A lot of American towns are like that. That's why you have blocks, whereas in England it's just like Roman streets everywhere. But it was kind of built around the military and scientific base that's neighbouring it, that you can go to with the crater. And you can tell that like a lot of military families just brought them there. But I think because obviously there's going to be that connection with the majority of the residents of this town, their family is going to be in the military. You very much get this close-knit community kind of vibe. You like, everyone knows everyone, and everyone kind of, even if there are like arguments, everyone kind of gets along. There's like that plateau place, there's this plateau place as well that like the rich folk live in, that look down on people. I'm just going to ignore that, but it's a nice little gated community area, I guess. But you know, she's a decent town. I can imagine living there. Again, it's another arid, deserty region. I think it's based off New Mexico probably, because obviously it's all about conspiracy theories, and it would dry my hair out and make me stutter with the heat. But it's still cute, and you can imagine like little families living there and stuff. And I just think I play a lot in this town as well, to be honest. Next up is Sulani, and I didn't get the best picture of Sulani because when I was going in to get the screenshots, we went into Sulani, and it just turns out to be a very cloudy day. But I kind of like that. And again, Sulani is probably a destination of my dreams kind of place. It's based off a lot of Polynesian culture. I'm not sure where exactly it's based off, but you kind of, I guess I get almost Hawaii vibes just from the fact that my biggest exposure to Polynesian like areas is Hawaii, just because my granddad lives there. Lucky him. Actually, he lives on Molokai, one of the smaller islands, and obviously this is a very islandy place as well. It's also connected to some kind of mainland, I think. And this is from, obviously it's from Island Living, and I think the name of this is very apt as well, Island Living, because it's very much, again, it's all about the culture, and you can kind of see that in the builds. It's not tourist focused. There's like a few little touristy areas, I guess, but there's, again, this is similar to Mount Commeraby. There's this kind of dichotomy between like the tourists who might file in and like pollute everything and ruin it, and the residents, like the traditionalist residents who live there, who like are trying to uphold their culture in this world that's very fastly that's like modernizing very quickly. And I just love that. You can see that in some of the builds as well, and especially in the communal areas, I guess. A lot of the vibes do remind me of when I lived in Seaside Town, obviously, but not that much because I lived in Torquay. It's quite different to, you know, Polynesian places, but it's cute, and I really like living here as well. I like that there's just the mermaids don't actually have homes. The mermaids, you can kind of get the sense that the mermaids go somewhere else with their day. I wish you could see it. Island Paradise in The Sims 3 at least let you go underground, and you can see like remnants of their civilization in that, and like you get that feeling that the mermaids do have like their own lives under the water in that, whereas in this you can't really go diving, or you can't actually see diving. But I do like that it didn't focus on like the touristy aspects of you know, living in an island paradise like Sims 3 did, and they actually focus on the culture and like the damages we do to the environment, and the fact that you can like you can work on the pollution with the conservationist career, and that you can like make it look better. I think that's a really good thing, and I really like it. I think you can tell that I kind of like it when the Sims packs kind of make a focus on you know, the culture behind things, like this one, and I just think it's really neat. So next up is Tartosa, and Tartosa is the town that makes me mostly definitely think of when I lived in Torquay, because Torquay, a lot of the buildings in Torquay are based off like Mediterranean areas, because we liked copying, I guess. It's a very cute place, but it's very small. I actually don't know where to put this. I think she's just going to go in a decent place to live, because she would be a decent place to live. Like, the buildings are really cute, but again, it's really small. There's actually not much to do there, but I can imagine like living there. There's just not much to do while you're there, I guess, in the way of activities or anything fun, other than get married, which is fine. It's like, obviously there's all these picturesque locations in there, but she's not the best town, and I don't know why, but lately, other than Moonwood Mill, I think Henford Bagley was like the end of their decent creativity, like the Sims team with towns. Moonwood Mill's fine, but Tartosa and Copperdale both have like these kind of like half-assed vibes, I guess, and I think that's not fair to say. And these are actually places where Sim has worked on the builds again, and I don't actually have anything against like the houses. I just have like the world itself. Obviously it looks pretty, but that's it. It just kind of like looks one-dimensional, or almost like vapid in a way, you know, that I just don't approve of as much. It's a decent place to live. It's not bad. It just doesn't have much character. Next up, and I know it's weird because I didn't use any of the other hidden worlds, but I don't know if it counts as a hidden world, but I have the Magic Realm from The Sims 4, which is, I can't remember what it's called. Realm of Magic. Yeah, I have the Realm of Magic from Sims 4 Realm of Magic here, or the Magic Realm even, and I put that in there because she's going straight into Destination of My Dreams, because look at her, she's like, she's galactic, literally. She's like crumbling rocks in like this dimensional void, and you get like the sense of this kind of history there, and I just love her. Okay, and I really wish I could build a house in the Magic Realm and live in the Magic Realm instead of just having to live in Glimmerbrook, because I just love her. You can kind of get the sense that something happened to like make this void crumble, and now that you got more lore behind like the majority of the occults that come from that comes from werewolves, you kind of like, you can see that maybe there was some kind of war there, like big war that made it all crumble apart, and you very much get the sense that this entire place is held together by magic. It looks like magic, hence why it's called the Magic Realm, and I just think she looks really pretty, so I wanted to add her in there because why not? And she is definitely the destination of my dreams, because I will be dreaming of living in her tonight. And last but not least, we have Windenburg, who is probably the second, after Mount Commorobie, probably the second best world in The Sims 4. She comes with Get Together. I would put her in Move Here. I would move here. And I do confess it took me an embarrassingly long time to realise that Windenburg was based off Germany. And by embarrassingly long time, I mean like I had to read someone say it was based off Germany to be like, wait, shit, yeah, it is. I don't know why. It just took me so long to realise. And yeah, judge me all you want. But she is a huge world. She is obviously... Get Together is all about like doing activities as part of groups and clubs, and there's, because of that, there's tons of things to do in this town, probably one of the biggest amounts of things to do in this town. And again, but you also have like the sense of a lot of people live here as well. Again, she's a huge town. She has like, she's a city as well, but she's like a European city, and she's like a smaller, not so high-rise city, like Worcester is. And I just really like her. I don't know what else. I don't tend to live in Windenburg that much in the game, just because I'm very bad at building in here, and I don't tend to live in a lot of houses that come pre-packaged, or at least not for long. I tend to build them up. But yeah, as a person, I would definitely move here, especially if I was moving to like mainland Europe and that. I'd love to live in Germany, because yeah, why not? And I just like her. So yeah, I think we can definitely leave that here for the day. And I really enjoyed doing this ranking. I don't think it was there was as much to rank for this, obviously, as there was to rank for the Sims 4 packs in general, because there's only 20, including the destinations and the Magic Round, there was only 22 things to rank in here. There was like a billion things to rank for the Sims 4. I will also do a Sims 4 kit ranking video one day, but we're due for another kit coming out soon, so I don't want to rank kits until I get to that one. But I very much enjoyed ranking these worlds, and I hope that it kind of helps you guys if you're not sure where to play next. I hope it helps you guys choose where to play next, or even if you're deciding on a pack because you want to buy a pack with a new world, so you have somewhere new to live. Hopefully this helps you decide where you want to live in the pack as well, because that would be quite fun. But I am obviously going to be leaving that here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so fucking hungry, so I'm going to go off to eat. Yes, it is 2:56 a.m. where I am, by the way. I kind of slept from 5 till like 10:30. Whoops. But yeah, I thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please consider leaving a like, and please also consider subscribing to my channel. It would mean a lot. My goal is 1,000, not 1,000, my goal is 500 subscribers by New Year's, and I hope we can help that can happen. It'd be great to get 500 subscribers before that, mind you. We're getting close. I'm at 225 now, so I'm almost halfway there. But the reason why I want to get to 500 subscribers is so that I can finally get a community tab, and I can update you guys on like streams and that. Although I don't stream so much anymore, but I do stream very, very occasionally when I could be bothered. I have the energy for it. I don't do it too much though, because I am semi-spoony, so it's hard. Sorry, I forgot what I was going to say then. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all so very much, and if you have any other different opinions on what you think or where things should have gone, or if I got things wrong, if you want to comment, just leave a comment in the description, and just leave a comment down below. That would be great. I do try to respond to comments as much as possible. If not, I will at least like your comment, or delete it if it's very offensive. Sorry guys, sorry, not sorry, but yeah, here we go. But other than that, obviously I will love you all. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all so very much. You are the baddest bitches around, and I will see you later. Ta-ra.